Most women our age, we reach a certain time in life where we're tired of cooking, so we generally go out to dinner, I would say more often than not. And what do we usually eat? Chinese, Italian, or Greek. The passing of years makes us very nostalgic for the home cooking of our mothers and grandmothers, who usually were immigrants from Eastern Europe. Paul, why don't we ask our friend Helen Doniger, who was raised in the old country, to refresh our memories, and maybe we can recapture those wonderful tastes and smells of all those old dishes.
This goes back 2 generations, 3 if you're over 50. It also explains why many Jewish men died in their early 60s with a non-functional cardiovascular system and looked like today's men at 90. Before we start, there are some variations in ingredients because of the various types of Jewish taste: Polak, Litvak, Deutsch, and Galiciana. Sephardic we'll do another time. Just as we Jews have 6 seasons of the year: winter, spring, summer, autumn, and slack season, and the busy season. We all focus on a main ingredient, which unfortunately and undeservedly has disappeared from our diet. I'm talking, of course, about schmaltz, chicken fat. Schmaltz has for centuries been the prime ingredient in almost every Jewish dish, and I feel it's time to revive it to its rightful place in our homes. Oh, I have made plans to distribute it in the green glass Gucci bottle with a label clearly saying, low fat, no cholesterol, Newman's Choice, extra virgin schmaltz. It can't miss. Then there are griebenists, pieces of chicken skin, deep fried in schmaltz, onions, and salt until crispy brown, Jewish bacon. This makes a great appetizer for the next cardiologist's convention. There's also a nice chicken fricassee, a stew, using the heart, gorgle, neck, pipik, the gizzard, a great delicacy given to the favorite child, a fliegel, a wing, or 2, some eilach, little premature eggs, and other various chicken innards in a broth of schmaltz, water, paprika, etc. Oh, we also have knishes, filled dough, and the eternal question, will that be liver, beef, or potatoes, or all 3? Other time-tested favorites are kishka and its poor cousin, helzel, chicken or goose neck. Kishka is the gut of the cow, bought by the foot at the kosher butcher. It's turned inside out, scalded and scraped. One end is sewn up and a mixture of flour, schmaltz, onions, eggs, salt, pepper, etc. is spooned into the open end and squished down until it's full. The other end is sewn and the whole thing is boiled. Often after boiling, it's browned in the oven so the skin becomes crispy. Oh, yummy. My personal all-time favorite is watching my Zeta, Grandpa, munch on boiled chicken feet. Our next course, chicken soup, the antibiotic for all ailments, was served with a choice of lakshan, noodles, farfel, broken bits of matzah, sibboleth, onions, mandlach, soup nuts, knedlach, dumplings, kasha, groats, and kliskelech, and marach, oh, that's marrow bones. This course, as I remember it, either boiled chicken, flanken, kaklaten, hackfleisch, chopped meat, and sometimes rib steaks, which were served either well done, burned, or cremated. Occasionally we had barbecued liver done to a burned and hardened perfection in our old coal furnace. Since we couldn't have milk with our meat meals, beverages consisted of cheap soda or seltzer in the spritz bottles. In Philadelphia, it was usually Frank's Black Cherry Vishniak. And let's not forget the Timmins.
Helen, that was very interesting, but it's made me real hungry. Let's go out and get some pizza.
Wait, I want to hear more about the old days.
But I'm really hungry. If not pizza, let's go out and get some Chinese. Anything. I'm starving.
No, not yet. I want to hear more.
Growing up Jewish. If you're Jewish and grew up in a city with a large Jewish population, or are Gentile with Jewish friends or associates, the following will invoke heartfelt memories. The Yiddish word for today is pulkis. Translation, thighs. Please note, this word has been traced back to the language of one of the original tribes of Israel, the Cellulites. The only good advice that your Jewish mother gave you was, go, you might meet somebody. But why did somebody have to live in Brooklyn if you lived in the Bronx? You grew up thinking it was normal for someone to shout, are you okay? Through the bathroom door when you were in there longer than 3 minutes. Your family dog responded to commands in Yiddish. And every Sunday, your father went to the neighborhood deli in the morning, called an appetizing store, for whitefish salad, whitefish chubs, lox, Nova if you were rich, herring, corned beef, roast beef, coleslaw, potato salad, and a half dozen huge barrel pickles, which he reached into the brine for. A dozen assorted bagels, cream cheese, and rye bread sliced while he waited. All of which would be strictly off limits until all the family was up and around. And Sunday afternoon was spent visiting your grandparents and other relatives. You experienced the phenomenon of 50 people fitting into a 10-foot wide dining room, hitting each other with plastic plates, trying to get to the deli tray. You had at least one female relative who penciled on eyebrows, but they never matched. You thought pasta was stuff used exclusively for kugel and kasha with bow ties. You were as tall as your grandmother by the age of 7. And you were as tall as your grandfather by age 7.5. You never knew anyone whose last name didn't end in one of the 5 standard suffixes, Berg, Baum, Man, Stein, and Witz. You were surprised to discover that wine doesn't always taste like cranberry sauce. And you can look at gefilte fish and not turn green. When your mother smacked you really hard, she continued to make you feel bad for hurting her hand. You can understand Yiddish, but you can't speak it. You know how to pronounce numerous Yiddish words and use them correctly in context, yet you don't know exactly what they mean, like Kaneh Nahara. You're still angry with your parents for not speaking both Yiddish and English to you when you were a baby. You have at least one ancestor who is somehow related to your spouse's ancestor. And you thought speaking loud and interrupting was normal. You got used to never finishing a sentence. You considered your bar and bat mitzvah a get out of Hebrew school free card. You think eating half a jar of dill pickles is a wholesome snack. You're compelled to mention your grandmother's steel cannonballs upon eating fluffy matzo balls served at restaurants. You buy 3 shopping bags worth of hot bagels on every trip to the local bakery and carefully schlepped them home like glassware. Or, if you live far from a Jewish city hub, you drive 2 or 3 hours just to buy a dozen real bagels. You enjoyed good juicy gossip. You couldn't sit on the living room couch even when it was covered in plastic. Your mother or grandmother took personal pride when a Jew was noted for some accomplishment, showbiz, medicine, politics, etc., and was ashamed and embarrassed when a Jew was accused of a crime, as if they were relatives. You thought only non-Jews went to sleepaway colleges. Jews went to city college, unless they had scholarships or made an Ivy League school. If you wished to move into a Jewish community, you checked for lots of Chinese restaurants. Sei gesund.